North America's largest developer of dollar stores. Over 4,600 stores open since 1993. For more information, visit our website at
DollarStoreServices.com.
My name is John LaFronz. I'm the general manager here at Dollar Store Services. I've been here just under 20 years. It'll be 20 years in January. Our company has been developing dollar stores, good evening, for folks just like you for the last 24, almost 25 years now. In that time, we've opened over 4,600 dollar type stores across the United States and in any number of countries around the globe. So we've been at this for a while. We have a lot of experience to offer at every desk in our company, and certainly the experience we've garnered over the many years of store development. Brief bio about me. I've been in the retail and or the wholesale business since I was in my early 20s, so over 40 years, long enough to know better, and I'm still doing it. I've run wholesale companies. I've worked for large chains. As I mentioned, I've been here for 20 odd years. I also worked for a number of years doing overseas buying for major chains. So I've traveled to China, to Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and so on, sourcing product, things of that nature. So I'm pretty much steeped in this business, and I owned a number of my own stores for about 10 years back in the 90s. So this is kind of what I do, and hopefully my experience can help you if you decide to go forward and develop your own dollar store. As far as our company goes, as I mentioned, we are the nation's largest developer, actually North America's largest developer of independently owned retail stores. And we have, as I mentioned, opened over 4,600 stores since 1993. We open several types of dollar stores, a dollar-only store, which is very much like a Dollar Tree. And we'll talk more about Dollar Tree later. We also do a Dollar Plus store, which would be comparable, good evening, to a Dollar General or a Family Dollar. And then we have an exciting new concept that we've been developing for about a year now, and it's extremely popular. It's a 1, 2, 3 store. And in that store, about half the product sells for $1, and the balance sells for $1.52, $2.50, and $3. And that format works well in virtually every retail environment. And it doesn't matter who your competition is. You can compete with the Dollar Trees of the world. You can compete with the Family Dollars and the Dollar Generals because you're so unique. You'll have more dollar product than the Family Dollars or the Dollar Generals, and only the best dollar product. Good evening, welcome. If you haven't muted your phone, I would ask you to do so right now. I'm hearing a little bit of background noise. That way everybody can hear the best. So if you haven't muted your phone, please do so right now. We also do a big box dollar store, which is a mini grocery, you might say. It starts at about 10,000 square feet. And then in urban areas where they're very vertical, downtown New York, downtown LA, places like that, we also have a convenience type store that we can develop. It's called the Neighborhood Market. And we'll talk a little bit more about all those later. No matter what store format you look at, our program is very simple and very complete. We offer 7 key services, all designed to get your store open as quickly and efficiently as possible. Those services are financial assistance, site location assistance. We negotiate your lease agreement, and then we provide a complete setup of the store. We provide all the labor, the fixtures, the equipment, the interior signage, and allowance towards the cost of the outdoor sign, all the inventory, of course, and we send a crew out to put it all together. We also offer you comprehensive training both before and after you're open. We do that primarily over the internet and via the telephone. And you have access to the online training at any time. You can do it all at your convenience. Along with those services, we provide you membership in our merchandise network of suppliers. And that's a key component because being part of our supplier network can enable you to buy product at 20 to 25% less than you would pay at those same suppliers going in there as an independent owner, not part of our network. So very, very significant. In fact, if you were to buy $300,000 in inventory next year for your store, that 20% savings can mean $60,000 in additional profit to you, and as much as $75,000 additional profit just by being part of our merchandise network. So it's a very, very key component of what we do, and I'll talk for a minute shortly about how that all works for you. In financing, we have any number of different types of lenders that are designed to address virtually every credit profile that might be presented to them. They're all primarily FICO score driven, and we have lenders that can help you with home equity, SBA loans. You can borrow against your CD or your 401k. We have a new lender that we're working with now, just very recently, and they are able to actually provide funding for people that might have some minor bumps on their credit, some lates or a little derogatory item here or there, where before lenders would have to have those removed via credit repair or something like that. This lender can work with a minimum credit score, and those bumps and blemishes don't have to be removed before they can go forward and provide funding. So very, very exciting for us, and a great opportunity for a lot of people that want to get into their own business. If you need a business plan, if you're working with your own lender, we can create one and provide that to you at no charge. And the whole process for us and for you starts with an application deposit to see if you can get financing. And you'll know within 48 to 72 hours if you qualify, and if so, what the terms of the funding might be and the amount of funding that you qualify for. Once you determine that you want to go forward, you've secured your funding, we move you into site location. In our office here, we have our own real estate staff. In site location, you're assigned a leasing manager and a site location specialist. They will identify every location that meets the size parameters in the area that you would like to develop your store. Then they research them to make sure they're suitable in terms of competition and the environment of the location itself. You will have access to a secure website that we call EasyTrack. And on EasyTrack, you will be able to see everything there is to know about every location that is under consideration. The population, the vehicle traffic going by the shopping center, the population again at 1, 3, and 5 miles, the household income, the ethnicity, everything you could want to know about that location, a map of the competition showing who they are and where they are in relation to your potential store location. And I will say that there are a lot of locations that we research that you will never see. If there's a competitor too close, or the asking rent is so out of line that we know the landlord is never going to negotiate to an acceptable level, you'll never see those types of locations. So we may look at 15, 20, 30 locations. You may see 6 or 8 or 10 of them after we've eliminated the ones that just are not suitable. So that's part of the process that we go through. You'll have all that information as you see, and then we'll have you visit those locations to get your input, which is invaluable, because you're going to be able to see what actually exists on the ground. You know, sometimes when you get to a shopping center, which looks great on the internet, but you get there and they built a gas station out on the corner of the intersection, so all of a sudden it's a little harder to see the shopping center from the intersection when you're sitting at a traffic light. We also want to see, is the center well maintained? Is it well lit at night? Is it a safe environment for you and for your customers? We want to make sure that all around it's a strong location. If, as we hit upon locations that you approve of and we like as well, we'll make arrangements for you to get inside the space to assess the interior condition. We'll have you take some photographs. So we know exactly what we have to negotiate for the landlord to do. And we do that, again, on any number of locations, because when we're done, we want you to have several options of locations, and we can help you compare and contrast one against the other. Maybe the rent's a little bit higher here, but the competition is much farther away. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And we'll talk through all those things as you start to evaluate those final choices in location. Once we've hit upon a location that checks all those boxes, our leasing manager gets very involved with you. He's going to issue a letter of intent to the landlord, which is our first offer, the first step in the negotiation process. We submit a letter of intent that has over 17 key provisions. We'll review that with you before we send it, so you know exactly what we're proposing rent-wise, term-wise, what we're asking the landlord to do in terms of how they're going to deliver the space. Every one of our leasing managers here negotiates over 100 retail leases every year, so they're very skilled. And Our newest leasing manager, I believe, has been here 7 or 8 years. So they've all been with us a good period of time. They know our business. They know the pitfalls. They know what to look for, and they know what to avoid. Every letter of intent, as I mentioned, has over 17 key provisions, all designed to protect you. And I'll give you a couple of quick examples. For example, we always ask that the restrooms be compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act, which means that they're handicapped accessible, the door is the correct size, the room itself is the correct size, the fixtures and handrails are there and they're suitable for somebody who has a handicap situation. And we want the landlord to pay for that if it needs to be retrofitted. If it's not, and you have to do it, that can easily cost you $10, $12, $15,000 just to retrofit that restroom. We don't want you to have to be responsible for that. We want the landlord to do that. Another clause that we always negotiate for is a no relocation clause, because you may go into a shopping center and maybe you're 2 doors down from Target and it's a very prime location. There's a lot of foot traffic and everybody that goes to Target sees you. And what we don't want to have happen is for the landlord to come to you 6 months or a year into your lease and say, you know, I've got a tenant that wants a space your size and the space next to it, so I'm going to move you down to the end of the center. Is that okay, Joe? And of course, you're going to say no, and your lease is also going to say no because there's a no relocation clause in there. The landlord can't move you unless you approve. So those are a couple of protections. There's so many. We always negotiate for the landlord to do all the construction inside. We want you to do that. If you need to do flooring or paint, maybe the space needs those 2 items, we're going to negotiate for the landlord either to do that or to provide a tenant improvement allowance. You can get it done and they will reimburse you. But every negotiation is a little bit different. Then once we get to the final draft of the lease, and there's usually a couple of rounds of negotiation, when we get to the final set of terms, your leasing manager is going to review that with you. Review all the terms and clauses within the lease to make sure you're totally comfortable. And if you are, then we arrange for you to sign the lease. And we execute the purchase agreement, which is the agreement between you and our company for us to actually develop your store. And then we move you into our operations department. Our operations department actually coordinates the run up to the setup of your store. They're going to be coordinating with you and the landlord on when the space is going to be ready, what has to be done. And then our operations manager, will schedule the store setup. Now, in our store setup, as I mentioned earlier, it includes all the fixtures, merchandise, interior signage, all the labor to receive all the fixtures and merchandise, all the labor to put it all together, to assemble the fixtures, put slat on all the walls, install the checkout, and then receive and stock all the inventory. When we're done, which takes about 1 week from start to finish, we arrive on a Sunday evening, the fixtures arrive Monday morning, and then the merchandise starts arriving. Typically, we're done with your store 100% by late Friday or Saturday, and you are ready to open. It's a very fast process. We do any number of stores throughout the year, and our setup people have been with us for many, many years, our supervisors, and they're very, very efficient in getting your crew moving and getting your store done as quickly as possible. And we're always going to ask you to spend as much time as you can in the store during that week, because even though you've gone through your training at this point, there's a lot of learning that can happen watching how we display things a certain way, where the different merchandise comes from. A lot of hands-on learning that can happen during that week. So we always want you there if possible. And of course, I mentioned earlier, we're also going to do your training, and that will happen between your lease signing and before your store setup. It's over the phone and on the internet. We're going to make sure that the trainer stays in contact with you for at least the first 60 to 90 days after you're open, almost every day, helping you write replenishment orders, helping you get ready for every season and holiday, making sure you have your merchandise ordered and the holiday signs are up, and you get a full set of signage for your inside your store and for the windows for all the key seasons and holidays. And then helping you source new product, because you're always going to get calls for items that you may not have in your store initially. So we help you find those items. After that first 60 to 90 days, if you're comfortable and we are comfortable with the way your store is trending, we move your store to a long-term coordinator's desk, and that person performs that same support for the life of your business. Now, she won't call you every day. She might reach out to you once or twice a week, but she is always available to you anytime at all for anything that you might need. And that's a key resource for you. And I'll give you a quick example. If you go into your store the morning after Thanksgiving weekend, which is an incredibly busy weekend, as I'm sure you know in the retail business, and you start to look around and you say, wow, I'm out of medium gift bags for Christmas and I'm missing red and green wrapping tissue, I'm sorry, and 18-pack bows for gifts and presents. And you're standing to say, oh my gosh, I got to get all this product back in. We don't want you to have to call 10 or 15 suppliers trying to find out who's in stock on those items so you can do an intelligent order. You call your merchandise coordinator here, and she's going to have a hot sheet for every supplier, and she's going to know who's in stock on what critical items that you're looking for. So she can very quickly say, okay, let's see, supplier B has these items you're looking for, Joe, so let's go ahead and put an order together real quickly with them and get it out to you. And that's so important because during the last 6 or 8 weeks of the year, business increases per day at a very rapid pace. In fact, I always say that between Thanksgiving and Christmas, every day is like 3 days any other time of the year. So if you're out of an item for a day, you're actually out of an item for 3 days. Excuse me, I'm getting some background noise. If you could please mute your phone, whoever that might be. Thank you. So the last key component of our merchandise program is the Supplier Network, which I mentioned briefly earlier. Good evening, welcome. And we visit every one of our suppliers once a month, all the key suppliers, and we hand select the best new merchandise that they have, and we negotiate the prices on those items. And if we can get to an acceptable price and the quality is good, we're going to present that item to you. You get new merchandise. Excuse me. I'm hearing some conversations. Can you please mute your phone? Thank you. We'll wait. Thank you. So we travel, we negotiate the best new items available, and you'll get new product information from us every single week. If we don't like the quality of an item or we can't get to an acceptable price for you, you will never see that item from us. Someone's having an issue with a smoke alarm, please mute your phone. And it's very hard to buy merchandise from a website or from a catalog. You really can't evaluate, and that's why we do what we do. We want to hold the product in our hands. We want to make sure not only is the item correct, but the packaging is correct, because it's very, very important. And the other thing that I would say with regards to merchandise, there are 3 key components to a good merchandise program, and they are value, variety, and new merchandise. In terms of value, as I just mentioned, we hand select the best items and we negotiate the prices for you. You're always going to get the best value on the items that we recommend. In terms of variety, in our network, we have over 80 suppliers scattered around the country. And because many provide freight guarantees, you can buy product from suppliers that are far enough away that your competitors cannot because they don't have those freight guarantees. The other key item that our suppliers can provide to you is they will ship what's known as an inner pack instead of a full carton of product. So say you have pizza cutters, and pizza cutter comes 12 dozen pieces to a master carton is what we call them. You don't want to buy 12 dozen pizza cutters because you're going to have them for a long time. Even though it's a good selling item, that's a lot of pizza cutters. So our suppliers will ship you 12 or 24 pieces of a pizza cutter. You put them all out on the shelf, they turn very quickly, you rebuy them again. Instead of looking at that same carton for 6 months, you're buying pizza cutters every week or every other week, turning your inventory, always fresh, always new. The other advantage is because you didn't have to buy all those other pizza cutters, you can buy many other items and increase by a very great degree the assortment of product that you have in your store. So variety, very, very important. And the last component is new merchandise, and I can't stress this strongly enough. You want to have the key items, the consumables that people come shopping for: paper products, household cleaners, snack foods, things like that. Those are important, and that's why people come to your store. And that's the first thing that they put in their cart or their basket when they come through the store, because they have a list, just like you have or I have when we go shopping. But once they're in the store and once they're satisfied those needs, what you want to be able to do is sell them items that they didn't know they needed, but they see that the perceived value is so good that they have to make those buying decisions. And I'll give you a quick example. I went into the store a couple of weeks ago and I bought a package of paper towels that I needed. I bought a package of sponges. I bought some shampoo and conditioner. That was what was on my shopping list. So I was going to spend $4, $5, $6. And then I started to look around and I saw this 4-pack of placemats. Would look great on my kitchen table. They were like $1 or $1.50 and make my wife happy. So I grabbed those, and I saw a man-made chamois, and I usually wash my car with old towels, but I said, boy, that'd be nice. So I picked up a couple of those and a couple of toys for my grandkids, and all of a sudden my $6 sale was now $10 or $12 or $13, because now I'm buying items that I didn't know I needed. But again, the product was so good, the value was so good, I had to buy them, and so I did. But now I'm going to go back there tomorrow, and I know I need some of those consumable items again, but I don't need the chamois, I don't need the placemats, I don't need the toys. I still have all those things. But if you show me something new in auto care or in home decor, now I'm a customer again. And that's why the new goods are so important, because they build up your average sale, they build your bottom line profit, and they keep customers coming back because they know they're going to see something they haven't seen before. They can buy paper towels pretty much anywhere, although you're going to be the cheapest person to buy them from. But what you want to do is educate your customer to know that every time I come into your store, man, I'm going to see something I've never seen before, and I know the value is going to be great. So it's so important. The new merchandise is the engine that pulls the train. And you should make sure every time you order product, at least 40 to 50% of that order should be items you've never had before. So you always have a ton of new merchandise for people to choose from. It's so important. And that is basically our system. As I mentioned earlier, we have incredible long-term support for the life of your business. There's going to be always someone in contact with you to help you with merchandise and operations, your merchandise coordinator, your long-term coordinator, and of course, you have access to anyone in our company at any time. Often we have clients come back to us. They want to renegotiate their lease for another term, or they want to take on additional space, or they need some different fixtures, whatever those things are. We're always available to you at any time at all. So that is our merchandise program. That's our store development program, and that's kind of what we do. And I will entertain questions about all that in just a little bit. I want to take a minute and talk about what's going on in our industry, and I know I'm kind of going on, so I'll try and wrap it up here pretty quickly. But there are some exciting things that are happening right now, and I want to point out before I forget, because you're attending the teleseminar tonight, if you do decide to go forward and make an application deposit before next Tuesday, you will qualify to get $2,000 in free merchandise when you open your store. So I know that was in the email probably. Well, I know it was in the email, but I just want to make sure that we don't forget to at least mention that because it's a nice value for you and kind of compensates you for your time and having to listen to me, of course. A couple of things that are happening, Jeff, very recently, I'm sure you saw it in the news. Dollar Tree announced that they're going over $1 on a lot of items in their stores. Big change for them. And what they're finding is it's funny, they have many more layers of costs than you would have as an independent store owner. So they need to have a certain margin of profit to satisfy their shareholders. And that's a big part of the reason that they went to the dollar plus. Now, I don't believe that what you're going to see, based on everything I've read, is that they're going to have better product at those prices. I think what you're going to see is they're going to mark up their existing product to $1.25 or $1.50, and consumers are not going to like that. You know, we're fairly smart people. If I was buying a 18-ounce bottle of window cleaner for $1, and now you tell me it's going to be $1.25 or $1.50, well, I'm just going to walk away from that. If you give me a 24-ounce, then I might say, okay, it's a better value than it used to be, so I'm good with $1.25. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but we'll find out. But what it does is it puts you at a nice competitive advantage. If you want to operate a dollar-only store, if that's the format that you want to go after, all of a sudden now you're less expensive than Dollar Tree. I don't know anybody saw that coming, but the fact is you will be, and it's an incredible advantage to you. And of course, if you want to do a 1, 2, 3 store or dollar plus store, you're on even footing with everybody, with the exception of the 1-2-3 store, makes you better than any of those other competitors. So the Dollar Tree making that move was phenomenal for our stores and for people that want to get into this business. So a very exciting time to be getting into it. As I might have mentioned in the email somewhere, this is a $60 billion industry. I'm thinking when everything's tallied up, we're going to be over $68 billion nationwide in dollar store sales, which is an incredible number. This year, there will be more dollar stores opened than all other retail stores combined in the United States, and the end's not in sight. Why are people shopping dollar stores more and more? Well, of course, a lot of people that never did shop dollar stores during the pandemic did for the first time because our stores had product that they needed, that they couldn't find in their grocery stores, couldn't find in their drug stores. And I'm sure all of us experienced some of that as well. You know, if you're looking for cleaners or alcohol or PPE products, you know, the masks, the sanitizers, things like that, our stores had them, and they had them in great numbers. And people that hadn't shopped us before did. And what they found was that the values were good. The stores were pleasant to shop in. They found what they were looking for. So people that had never shopped our dollar stores before, or any dollar stores, now do, and they're convinced that they can get great value there. And interesting, and I'll go back a little bit, there was a survey that was done earlier this year for the grocery store chains. And they asked people, what is most important to you when you shop? And over 70% said price. Big surprise. The other thing that they said overwhelming, and again, over 70% said convenience. And what do dollar stores offer to all of our customers? We offer price and we offer convenience. You don't have to park in a 2-acre parking lot at a Walmart and walk a half a mile to get in there, buy a roll of paper towels and pay too much for it. You go to a dollar store, do your shopping in 15 or 20 minutes and be out the door and spend less money. People like that. And especially with the economy right now, people are shopping dollar stores in greater and greater numbers yet again because they're seeing prices rise in the grocery stores and so on. And the other component of that survey, which really kind of tickled me a little bit, is they asked, do you feel if you've been gouged by your grocery store during the pandemic? Over 80% said absolutely yes. We think we were taken advantage of. And people remember those things. So that's kind of what's going on in the industry. Exciting time to be getting into this business. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, many traditional businesses didn't survive, and that's sad. But the upside for our business is that there are many, many great locations available. And landlords are looking for businesses that are, you might say, pandemic proof. Our stores did not have to close during the COVID situation because they were considered to be essential businesses in virtually every state. So they didn't have to close. They provide products that people need every day. And landlords want that type of business. They don't want to have a situation where a business closes or has to go out of business. They're left with no rent and dark places within their centers. They want businesses that can survive, and not only survive, but thrive, and they know that our businesses do that. So with all that being said, what I'd like to do is kind of open it up to questions, and I would ask you, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute your phone and ask your question, and I'll address it with you. If you would please just introduce yourself by giving me your first name and where you're from, and that would be great. And with all of that, I appreciate your patience, and I'm ready for your questions. Who wants to start? Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, go. Yes, sir. Who's it?
My name is Edward. I'm from Eastern Texas. My question is
very good. Go ahead.
How much will it cost me to open a dollar store?
Okay, good
That's
question.
The first question. Wait, and the second one, are you going to look for store for me, or I'm going to look for the store and contact you? Thank you.
Okay, two good questions. Okay, first, the starting price for dollar-only store, 1,000 square feet, is $82,900. Now, on top of that, you're going to need some working capital for things like your rent deposits and so forth. So you're going to need, on top of that, Edward, another $15,000 to $20,000. So you can figure about $100,000 is what it will cost to get your store open. And that includes some working capital and so forth. And most of our lenders, which I neglected to mention earlier, so I'm glad you asked the question. Most of our lenders, if you qualify, can cover the entire store package price, including working capital. So they can almost fund that entire amount in most cases. So that's a good thing. The second part of your question is easy to answer. You don't have to find the location. We do all that research for you. We present the locations that we think are the best ones, and we give you all the information about them, and we talk through all of that information. We compare all of them one against the other for you, and then we have you visit them, and then you make that decision. Excuse me, and then we negotiate the lease for you.
Okay. Is it possible I send you my email, then you send me everything that relates to it so that I can study it and take appropriate action, please?
Absolutely. If you want to respond to that email that you got today or yesterday, and just say, did you get one yesterday or the day before?
I think it's likely yesterday or today. I got one.
Yeah,
maybe yesterday.
Yeah, just respond to that and say, please send me all the information about your program, and I'll make sure that it goes right out to you.
I will send it to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Edward. You have a good evening. Take care now.
Yeah.
Hi,
Next
Lisa.
question.
Hi,
Yes,
Lisa,
where are you from, Lisa?
Sacramento, California.
Oh, very nice. Go ahead. What's your question?
My question is, what is the square footage that we can lease, and how does that compare to the cost of the package that you're offering?
Okay, good questions, and I think I understand exactly what you're looking for. We start at 1,000 square feet, and that would be the space that we would look to find for you if that's what you wanted to do. And we go up to as high as 8,000 or 10,000 square feet. And the package price will increase based on the store size, because obviously you need more merchandise, you need more shelving and so forth. And all those prices on our website. And typically what we do, Lisa, is we start by having you come into finance, and then we see with you how much you can qualify for, and then we can tell you, well, you qualified for X amount of dollars, so you can develop a store between 1 and 3,000 square feet, say. So we know what funds are available to you, and we'll give you the range of sizes of stores that you can develop, and then you make that decision. And sometimes people may say, well, I qualified for 3,000 square feet. I think I want to start a little bit smaller. And they'll start looking at 1,000 or 1,500 square feet, and that's fine, because we know that every store size will work well in the right environment. So we work very hard to find those prime locations, no matter what size you decide to develop. And sometimes in the process, people change their mind and say, gee, maybe I should go another 1,000 square feet bigger. And if you're funded for that, absolutely, we'll just shift gears and do that. Always a possibility. Does that kind of answer your question?
It does, John. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Next question.
Hi, John. My name is Shirley. I'm in the Palm Springs area. I would like to know the price point. Thank you. The price point is like, you said we could save about 20%. So in real numbers, what are we paying for the product? Are we paying over 50 cents for a dollar store? Or is it 75 or 80 cents? I'm just trying to get an idea of the potential profit after all expenses.
Absolutely. Okay. And a good question. I should have touched on that myself. So
great question.
Shame on me.
Great question.
Oh, we have a consensus. In a dollar-only store, the average cost of goods, Shirley, is going to be 54 to 55 cents. That's your average merchandise cost, which leaves you a gross margin on product of about 45 cents. Now, keep in mind that that's an average. Some categories of product do have a higher average cost. Paper products and some household cleaners run a little bit higher. They may run as high as 55 cents, maybe even 60 cents. But other categories of merchandise carry much lower average cost. Greeting cards, costume jewelry, household sponges, wipes, a lot of kitchen gadgets, and so on. So the key in operating your business and operating any retail business is to achieve that average cost of goods month in, month out. So in training, we talk about a lot of ways to do that. And the most important thing in minding your business is to keep track of every order that you bring in. We have you log in how many pieces did I get, what was the total cost of the order, and then do the division, what was the average cost for that order. So you want to make sure, and that's how to manage your business. You want to make sure that at the end of the month, you're hitting that average cost of 54, 55 cents, because then you can be nicely profitable. But you have to be very diligent about doing that. And in training, we spend a lot of time setting you up in terms of how to do that. In a dollar plus store, it's a little less critical. I mean, obviously profit's important, but in a dollar plus store, you have a lot more latitude, or a 1, 2, 3 store, in your retails, whereas in a dollar store, you're locked into that $1 price. So the average cost of goods is critical. Does that kind of answer your question?
Absolutely. So I have one other question. What type of FICO score to get in? Is it more like 630, 640 or higher? Like, what's the least amount to where we would have to do some credit fixing? Because I had to work on my credit a little bit. I just got it up to about 620, but I'm still trying to get it higher.
Yeah, I think if you can get in the upper sixes, about 670, and it's kind of a moving target, Shirley. So whatever answer I actually give you is going to be wrong because it seems like it changes. But I would say if you can get it up to 660, 670, you're going to kind of be in the game, so to speak. And it's not that hard to get there. You know, if you have some old derogatory items, you know, I have a neighbor and I kind of helped them a couple of years ago, and he was, I think his credit score was under 600, but he had a lot of old stuff collections that didn't apply, and I kind of walked him through what to do to dispute all those, and usually they end up just falling off. They surrender, and you get you know, it's amazing. You can clean up, you can move your credit score 30, 40, 50 points in a relatively quick period of time. So yeah, good project for you to jump on.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, go ahead. Next question.
Yeah, I have one question.
This?
So, hey, I'm Shiva.
Okay, and where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, very good. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, you have any stores in the nearby in the Georgia?
I am sure that we do. Would you like to visit a store, maybe?
Yeah. Which state do you have?
Okay. Well, we have stores all over the country. What I'd have to do, Shiva, I don't have that in front of me. But if you can send me an email, I'll see what I can find that's close to you.
I sent the email, but no one is a response. At least in nearby my city, because I will travel in the lots of states because I have couple up in the gas stations and restaurants. So which state you have, and I will visit one time your store. And at least you will provide in the store email address and location, and we'll find out in the Google.
Okay, do me a favor. Let me give you my email address, and if you can email me your contact information, I'll follow up with you tomorrow, if that's okay.
Okay.
And if anybody else wants to write it down, of course, go right ahead. Are you ready?
Yes. 1 second.
Okay, my email is John, JOHN, dot LaFronz, LaFronz.
1 second.
Okay.
JOHN.
You said Ella.
JOHN. Let me start again. JOHN dot LaFronz, LaFronz at LAFRONZ.
ROMZ.
At DRSS, that's David Robert Sam Mail.com. Yes, mail.com.
Can you repeat the last one, please?
Sure. I'll do the whole thing. John.LaFronz at DRSS, that's David Robert Sam mail.com.
What is the Gmail? What is this?
It's DRSS mail. It's not Gmail.
Okay. What's your good phone number? How can we reach?
Okay, 702 637 3389.
702 637
3389.
3389. Okay.
Very good. And I'll look for your call and email, and I'll get back in contact with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva. Have a good evening.
You too.
Yes, next question.
Hi, my name is Abdullah. How are you doing?
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
Very good.
Yeah, nice to meet you today, conference. And here
Yes.
I have a question. The first one is like, we're talking about the, like, let's say the 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet is starting. And this is if you finance this one. The question is here is like about the goods or the stuff you are provide me with the suppliers or merchandisers. And
Yes.
there's some kinds of like people, when you go to the store, some people like drop stuff, broken, damaged, this stuff. How is gonna work like with the suppliers? Like, it's gonna be like the percentage of that or return or something? Because you know the profit is like too small. Yeah, too small, like 20. If we lose 2-3 items that like beer 10 minutes, this is like the whole profit the whole day.
Sure, I understand. And what I can tell you is that once you own the merchandise, it is yours. The suppliers won't take care of breakage of items that occur inside the store. Now, if you get a shipment in and there's some damage in the cartons when you open it, they will take care of that for you, because it's either a freight claim or it's poor packing claim, and they will take care of it. But no, once the product is in the store, there's no credit at that point. You own the merchandise.
So you'll be responsible for the inside store.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Otherwise, for all like food and everything, like food stuff, like glasses, everything, you're responsible for that.
Yeah. Once you receive the merchandise, it is yours. And that's when you mention food. It's very important that you know, because most of the food product that our suppliers provide have very long shelf dates. In other words, before they go out of date. But it's really important at store level that you constantly rotate that product. That's pretty basic retailing, and I think you've been in retail, so you kind of know. But you always put the oldest product in the front and put the new product in the back. So you're selling those closer dated items, so they never go out of date, and they're good values for your customers. So rotating your stock, especially in items that go out of date, like food, like some health and beauty aid drug type items, very important to stay on top of that.
Okay, another question is regarding the lease. Like when you near the store, like for example, 1,000 square feet, you consider that the rent is going to be covered with final profit and your cost too?
When we get you financing, before you start, we do a worksheet that shows the store package price, whatever size store you're going to develop, and then we estimate all the other expenses that you're going to encounter. Like usually you have to pay the first month's rent in advance, and sometimes 1 month's security deposit as well. And then you need a little bit of money on hand for your business licenses and maybe some other startup things, utility deposits and so forth. So we kind of estimate all those expenses, and we make sure that the funding you have, whether you have your own funds or you're getting it through one of the lenders, that you have enough money to address all those expenses and have some working capital on top of it. And we do that before we would ever move you into real estate. We want to make sure that you're fully comfortable going forward. Exactly.
Thank you. If a question, why I'll call you or I'll text you. Email.
Very good. Yeah, anytime. Please do. Please do. Thank you. Next question.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Janae. I'm from Sacramento.
Okay, let's let the young lady go first. What was your name again, ma'am?
Janae.
Janae. Okay, very good. Go ahead.
Do you guys help with creating our LLC? And then the follow-up question, if we already have an LLC and we want to switch it to the dollar store, will you guys help with that?
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to answer the question backwards. Excuse me, if you are not asking a question, please mute your phone so we can all hear. I hear some background conversation. So, Janae, if you have an existing LLC, you don't have to change the name of the LLC. You can, if you want to, you can file a DBA when you open your store and run it under the same LLC if you choose to. For example, if you have maybe you own a car wash right now and it's Bubbles Car Wash LLC, you can file a DBA for your dollar store. It could be Janae's Dollar Store. It'll be Bubbles Car Wash LLC, doing business as Janae's Dollar Store. So it's just a simple document that you file, because you can operate many different types of businesses under the same LLC if you choose to do that. Or if you want to keep them all separate, and as a separate LLC for each one, you can do that as well. And then to go back to the first part of your question, most of our owners, we have some resources that we can direct our owners to set up their LLCs. And most often people will use LegalZoom or somebody like that. It's very inexpensive, and they do it exactly right. We used to have a paralegal here that used to do that, but I was always concerned, as good as he was, everybody's situation is very different. So using a company like LegalZoom, you're totally protected in terms of how they establish your LLC. So that's the best scenario for you. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question?
Yes. Hello, this is Jonas Lima from Maryland.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. I already actually paid my $500, and I got the credit report and all that. I'm over 720, but I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm working with Roots.
Okay.
And I don't know what is the next step for me to do, because he was telling me about some stuff on my credit card that is like a late payment a couple of times many years ago or things like that. And do I have to go through clean that also, even though I have 720? What is the best way for me to go forward?
Okay, good question. I can have Ruth follow up with you tomorrow, but with some lenders, yeah, you would have to get those off before you could go forward. But we just started using this other lender, as I might have mentioned, maybe you weren't on the call, but they seem to be able to do a better job with people that have like a minor blemish like you're describing on your credit. So let me do this, Jonas. I'll get with her in the morning, and then I'll have her reach out to you, because it may be that you're a great candidate for this other lender.
Okay.
So I'll do that. Before I leave here tonight, I'm going to send an email her way, and I'll follow up with her in the morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jonas. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Next question? Next question? Well, okay, if there are no more questions, once again, I appreciate everybody's time this evening. Reminder, if you do decide to go forward, get your application deposited by next Tuesday, and you will qualify for that $2,000 in free merchandise when you open your store. I think most of you jotted down my phone number. Feel free to call me at any time. And of course, you can email me as well, or just respond to the email that you got, and it will get to me. And again, I want to thank you all for your time this evening. If there's anything I can do to help you at any time, please reach out to me, and I look forward to having the opportunity to work with all of you. And again, thank you for your time this evening. Thank you. Very
John.
much appreciated.
I have one question.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
go ahead.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Go ahead,
John,
ma'am.
This is regarding like the payroll and
Okay.
the training, the merchandise trainer coordinator. Would she be the one that sets up the payroll and helps with the hiring and that kind of thing?
Yeah, those are all things that we do cover in training. In fact, she'll even do a sample schedule for you based on your store size. So you know how many employees and what work hours you need, all of that. As far as actually executing the payroll, most of our owners will either buy like a QuickBooks type program, which costs I think $100 or something like that. That's usually the best way to go at it. There is a resource that some of our stores use. It's called ADP, and they have different types of packages that you can sign up for. Some is just, you send your work hours in and your employees' information, and they spit out checks for you from your account. They do it all. Yeah, they do the sales tax returns. Yeah, exactly, all of that. And it's kind of a nice feature. I use them for many years in my own stores because it got to where I was spending so much time trying to manage and generate the payroll that I was losing sight of what my business was really all about. So I came across them, and it was pretty nominal cost, and it actually worked well. So it freed me up to great. What was your name, ma'am?
Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. Okay. Very good question. And
thank you.
You're thinking about going forward?
We are. Yes.
Good.
It would be me and my husband. Yes.
Excellent. Well, any other questions you have, you've got my number. Call me or call your sales representative, and I'll get you whatever information you might need.
Thank you, John. You take care.
Thank you. I will. You as well. Have a great evening. Thank you much. I look forward to it. Good night, everybody.